Yeah, why not? 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
So you've done
3, 2, 1?
Are we live or not?
By the time you ask, are we live? We're always live.
Okay.
That's the rule.
I can't tell.
That's
Okay, I am.
maybe
okay,
maybe it's only my rule, but it's a rule.
I can see my dumbass self now. Oh crap. Hello everyone. Welcome to an impromptu live stream with me and Alex. We're going to talk about cameras and smoke cigars, and it's Christmas.
Christmas.
Yay! Christmas. And we thought we'd talk about some of the manufacturers and what we think in our infinite wisdom.
I don't even know what you put as the title of this video.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh crap. We really haven't prepared, have we? I thought I gave you a brief, a binder and everything.
No.
No. Anyway, we're going to talk about camera manufacturers and some of the things that each manufacturer needs to improve on. Because over the last couple of years, we've had some brilliant cameras come out, but there have been some glaring weaknesses in some of these companies. And maybe some of these weaknesses are how these manufacturers differentiate themselves from others, right? So maybe the fact that Panasonic's autofocus sucks, maybe that's a feature. Maybe that's how they kind of put their signature on their cameras. Like if you buy a Panasonic camera, the autofocus is gonna suck. Maybe that's what it is.
Just like if you buy a Leica camera, it's expensive.
Yeah, exactly, right? Right? It's the feature. So maybe we'll never see improvements in this area. Maybe it's just one of the quirks, right? Because how else are you going to differentiate themselves, right? Because if everyone's good at everything, then every camera's the same.
Yeah, what
right?
a terrible world that would be.
Exactly, right? If Sony's color science wasn't crap, then it'd be perfect. So yeah, we're going to talk about cameras. It's not a serious video, obviously.
Oh yeah, because the others are so serious.
Oh yeah.
So serious.
Some of them are, important videos. Some of my architectural type videos. I make a good point once in a while. Not always. Really? None of them? Okay, none of them. What are you smoking, man? You don't even know what you're smoking.
It is a Cane F.
The hell is that?
I have no idea.
Who got this one?
It says Habano and Nicaragua on it, so
it's Cuban and Nicaraguan. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. Is it Habana or Habano?
it says Habano, so it's Cuban tobacco. Or
Habano.
Habano tobacco.
Maybe it's Habano wrapper, not.
Yeah.
So it might not be Cuban.
No, it's not. I doubt it's Cuban at all.
No, I highly doubt it. Where did he get it from, right? I have a friend.
Straight Ligero, it says.
Straight Ligero. Ligero is like the strongest.
Yeah, yeah.
The darker
It's straight.
leaves.
This one is straight.
Why is it straight for? I thought
It's
these were curvy.
not wiggly.
Not really. Anyway, what am I smoking? I'm smoking I'm smoking a relatively I wouldn't say. I mean, it's kind of a new brand for me. Company called Regis, and they make obviously new ones. I think none of us are smoking Cubans today, which is odd because normally I'm always smoking a Cuban, right? Has to be one time, right? But yeah, this is a Nicaraguan
Cigar.
I can't remember, honestly. I think it's Dominican. I could be wrong. But what I do know is the guy who owns the company is a brown guy. So...
Well, that narrows it down to
Yeah.
most of the world.
Well, actually, most cigar manufacturers are brown, aren't they?
Oh,
Technically.
Usman, Imran's here.
Oh, hi, Imran.
Apparently there's an echo on you.
On me. Echo on me.
Is there still an echo on you? Is there still an echo on you?
Is there still an echo on
you? Is there an echo on him? Is there an echo on him? Is there an echo on him? Is there an echo on him?
Give me a second, yeah. Let me just turn this light up a bit because I just noticed I'm getting lost in the dark.
Yes.
There.
Sounds like there's no mic. Is your microphone switched on? It looks like it is to me.
Yeah, my mic's switched
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Connection wise, how are we looking?
Tap it. Oh,
Yeah? No? Nothing?
no, nothing.
Nothing at all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's no. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a slight delay on this one. How's your microphone?
Fine.
Can you put it back? Can 1, 2, 3,
Ooh.
4.
I have an idea.
Go on. Check the cable connection on.
No, one of them is really low. How do I change that?
Oh, I'll have to do that. Give me a second. Shows how professional we are, doesn't it?
I think you have to do it on yours.
Nope, you have to do it here.
We need
No.
like a technical difficulty screen.
5 is fine.
Well, yours is on 1.
No, it's 5 out of 6 on both. So maybe, yeah, maybe it's on mine.
It is now.
Yeah, it's over here on this one.
God, the first thing I said, and he just doesn't believe me.
Can you just...
The first thing I said. What was the first thing I said?
Listen here.
Imran says well, I don't know if I can repeat that.
Did he use the P word?
No.
Which one?
He says I look sexy.
Oh. Well, he's got a point. The lighting's awesome, isn't it? How about now? 1, 2, 3.
That looks better.
Does that look better? Does that sound better? I feel like I sound great now. How's it sounding?
Looks good.
I feel like I sound great now. Yeah. And I coughed directly in the mic there. I apologize to everyone with headphones. Okay, let's try this
Again.
for the 3rd time. Because we were late today. I mean, I guess that's the signature move, isn't it? We're going to be talking about camera manufacturers and some of the things that we think they could improve. So right now, who are you shooting with? You're shooting with Nikon, right?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, which one is it? Tell them.
No.
Tell them.
No.
What Nikon camera is it?
I've just switched jobs, and the kit they've got is a very, very battered D3300.
Beautiful camera. I couldn't finish it.
I could fit about 3 of them into my old kit, but there we go. I'm just about to buy them some Fuji kit.
Which Fuji camera are you aiming for?
The XS10 for work.
Decent camera. So,
Yeah,
if you
it doesn't
could,
need to be too much, so
what do you actually need for the work that you're doing?
sort of 20-ish to 60-ish f4 stabilization. Stabilization more than ISO performance.
So you can't use tripods or anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, if I had them on wheels, then it would be alright for the outsides. I'm shooting pictures of cars.
Which company is it?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Why not? Why not?
Because I'll burst into flame. I don't know.
Is it Germans?
It is. That doesn't narrow it down though, does it?
No.
Audis. I'm working with Audis.
Audi? What's the company called?
Vorsprung durch Technik.
What's the company called?
Audi.
No, the company behind Audi.
Volkswagen Autogruppe.
No, how do you pronounce it?
VAG.
Say it. Is it the VAG group?
VAG.
Oh, what a silly name. I'm gonna end up getting you fired,
Yeah,
man.
you are, aren't
I said it, not you.
Hmm.
So it's fine. But then they're gonna be like, oh, look at the
I said it in my very best German.
Yeah. And they're gonna be like, look at the company you keep. Who's this numpty?
At least my flies are done up.
Is it not done up? Yeah. Air conditioning.
I just wanted to make you do this.
Okay. So. I'll wait. It's okay.
No, you can start.
No, I'll wait. I'll wait. I will wait for you to fiddle about. And, you know, because whilst I was lighting my cigar, you wanted to poke, you know, you wanted to take pot shots at me.
Mm.
So now it's my turn to take pot shots at you.
Yeah, go on then.
I don't have anything. I've forgotten what I wanted to say. So, yeah, do you think we should put this on an Instagram story? I mean, no one will... I don't know if that'll make a difference, though. When was the last time we did a live stream? I think the last time we did a live stream was in September, right? And since then, I haven't really posted many videos. But that's because I've been working on a couple of things, and some new things are going to be starting in September. So I'm quite excited to share that.
In September?
Not September, sorry, January.
I was going to say.
Yeah, January. I've signed the documents, though. They sent them over to me. I've signed the documents. I just need to go through the health and safety nonsense. But that's going to happen in January because Christmas.
Are you healthy? Are you safe?
That's basically what they want to know. And we're not allowed to smoke cigars in that place. Which kind of sucks, doesn't it?
That sucks.
Why?
Sucks.
No, you suck. The cigar doesn't.
That's peppery.
It's a Habano. Whew. Anyway, let's get on to Fujifilm first, because Fujifilm, you know, relatively easy target. No, I love Fujifilm. I really love Fujifilm. There isn't much that they need to do, right? I mean, look at the cameras that they've released. They've got the best medium format camera probably on the market. I keep saying probably just to kind of give a little bit of leeway, but let's be honest. It's the best, isn't it? GFX 100S.
When you factor price in, yeah.
Even if you don't factor price in, it's a 16-bit 100 megapixel camera with phase detect and stabilization.
It's not a phase 1 though, is it?
Yeah, but phase 1 does it. Do you know, I've shot with the phase 1. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. No, I'm not. That's not true. I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. There are a few things phase 1 can do as well, but we'll get to them. But no, it's not a phase 1. But phase 1, honestly, I'm not that impressed with what phase 1 is producing with their cameras in terms of image quality with their XF system. Man, your smoke is just sitting there.
It's just all around my head.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere at all.
However, their XT camera, because they produced brand new lenses for that, new Roden stock lenses, that looks incredible. That looks unbelievably good. Have you seen it? It's the architectural camera, the one with the shifting back.
Oh, right.
It's amazing. It's the most expensive camera that they've got. They've got...
Which is saying something.
Yeah. And they've got lenses specifically designed for that camera. So you can't... I don't think you can use standard XF lenses. Or if you can, they're going to be heavily limited. You have to use these particular Roden stock lenses which are designed for the movement, so you can do the left... You know, it's got a much bigger image circle. Blow that way. I'll turn the fan on.
You probably can't really see this in the video.
Mm.
Oh, I just faded you in instead. Pressed the wrong button.
Smooth.
It's really hard to operate these things when you're not actually looking at them.
Yeah, I can imagine. But anyway, Fuji. Let's talk about Fuji first.
What can Fuji do better?
Because every time I talk about Fujifilm, I get shunned. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, there's only a few things that Fujifilm needs to do, realistically, because, as I mentioned, they've got the best medium format camera currently on the market. Reasonable medium format.
Well, the thing they need to do with their medium format camera...
Colors.
Colors.
Oh my God. And they don't even need to do much. They just need to have a commercial, just a standard profile, which is not on the back of a film.
Yeah. Nothing
profile.
wrong with the ones they've got.
Yeah. But it's
except when you're doing commercial work.
Yeah.
And how hard can it be?
It's not that difficult.
It could.
It's a Sony sensor.
You can make your own in 10 minutes.
I mean, there is the point that you can use Capture One to strip away all the colors and the profiles from Fujifilm, but it's just more of a hassle. Sorry, I just thought about that was such a crap joke. That.
No, but we both thought it.
It's just a little bit. It's just that extra step which is unnecessary because I think that Fuji probably could produce a really, really good profile. They've got extensive experience with medium format. They just need to stop producing profiles which are on the back of film because that film profile is only like what?
Well, not stop, but in addition to.
Sorry, yeah, in addition to, yeah. Or maybe stop relying on just that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
But.
Not what you always
want. I mean, you can't. You really. People will use it for commercial work. People do use it for commercial work. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's fine. I can use it for commercial work. But as soon as you want some degree of control over your colors and you want something to look a particular way, the Fuji profile isn't that great.
So I'm about to buy an XS10, right, for taking advertising photos of cars. Most of that, straight JPEGs. I don't want film simulations.
So how are you going to manage that?
This is the one bugbear I have with the camera I've chosen, but I'm going to have to make something custom.
You can change the colors inside, but it's just such a pain in the ass.
You should only have to do it once, though.
Yeah, and then you just set it up and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I use the, what is it, Velvia? The Provia? Can't remember.
Yeah, Provia is the standard profile.
Yeah, which isn't too far off. Like, bearing in mind these pictures are going through 3 different computer systems and getting compressed the hell out of. So.
If you use Velvia and you just turn down the vibrance or the saturation, it's okay. It's okay. Right. It's okay. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass trying to shoot with.
But for the other stuff I'll be doing,
it's great. Just
to explain, like, some of my work is taking the straight up website photos of cars, the ones that you see when you go and buy them. But some of my work, effectively, I'm marketing for this dealership, so I need to go and do marketing photos as well. And if I can quickly turn photos around without having to edit too much, because I haven't really got a decent editing PC at work or screen. So if I can quickly turn those around and rely on having, for want of a better word, nice looking pictures, not necessarily accurate pictures, then, you know, I'm golden.
Yeah, pretty much.
Especially, if I know the colours are decent coming out the camera, then I don't need to necessarily edit them,
I think the XS10 should be fine. I looked into it after you mentioned it because I didn't even know that was a camera.
Oh, did I?
I had no idea.
I hadn't seen it until I walked into the shop.
I thought, what the hell? Because I thought it was.
This is why we need brick and mortar shops to still exist. Sorry.
What do you have to point for?
Because that's where that's where the people are that I'm talking to. They're in there. You know who you are.
Oh, okay. In the words of my uncle, Chiliabati.
All
3.
2.
One of them?
Should be 3 because we're 2 of them. I mean, unless Imran's gone, which he might have done. I wouldn't blame him.
So, Fujifilm colors. Colors are the main thing, I think. If they can fix their, not necessarily fix, if they can offer maybe another profile, that would go a long way with their offering right now. I know I mentioned
maybe I'm not a camera manufacturing expert, but it seems like quite an easy fix.
It's a really easy. You could do that in firmware, I think.
I don't see. Well, they've released other film simulations.
Exactly. So it's not that difficult. Firmware updates and you get film simulations and so on. So I highly doubt it's a difficult fix. It seems fairly straightforward.
Fuji, correct us if we're wrong. If not, do it.
What we're demanding it? I'm not demanding.
I've already pointed at the camera.
I'm politely requesting. Please, Fuji, invite me to your next event.
That too.
No, but jokes aside, I think.
All serious now. Jokes aside.
I'm serious.
Set the jokes over here.
Over and to the side. But Fujifilm, you are really vibing with your cigar today, aren't you? But yeah, Fujifilm, they've done some brilliant things. I know in the past I talked about how they need full frame and so on and so forth, and I still believe that because they're not really mainstream at the moment with their APS-C camera.
No.
And even their medium format camera, it's not mainstream. The market share is still relatively low.
Of a small market.
Yeah. However, I think it's not going to happen, so there's no point asking them. They're not going to do it. So there's no point asking Fujifilm for a full frame camera. It's just not going to happen, right?
That wouldn't be much point either, would there?
Hmm?
Wouldn't be a huge amount of point either, would there?
No, not anymore. I think when they first started, definitely, but not anymore.
Yeah,
I think
if they'd gone that way to begin with.
Yeah,
maybe,
because Sony did it when they first started.
at the same time, they've sort of carved out a bit of that niche for themselves. Like, you know, in retrospect, it might have been a smart move, to be honest. Because like the way their APS-C cameras are set up,
I don't know. I think that it would have been...
they're not. They almost don't have the same feel to them as the comparative full frames if they were to be full frame. You know, like Sony's Canon and Nikon's, they're all very straight laced, right? There's no film simulations on them. There's no artiness baked into the camera. Whereas the feel of a Fuji, as we've said, is very different.
Yeah,
it's a very different
it absolutely
thing to
is.
use.
Yeah,
and
but having a bigger sensor wouldn't have been a negative point.
no, but it suddenly puts them in a different category, and they will naturally then be compared to the likes of, you know, 5Ds, D850s, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but their medium formats are being compared to full frame.
True, but that's a slightly different comparison.
I think they could have done it quite comfortably.
I think they could have done it.
And they could have been one of the bigger manufacturers. They could have been in like the top 3. Because Nikon wasn't doing much.
No.
Canon was the only real competitor.
That's a good point, actually, yeah. Had they done that at the time...
Yeah. Look at where Sony
It could have
is.
spelled the end for Nikon, actually, couldn't it?
Fuji would have been 3rd or maybe 2nd. Easily. It wasn't really like they had a great deal of competition because Nikon was sitting on its laurels.
Well, I mean, I doubt they would have beaten Sony throwing money at it.
No, because Fuji has a much smarter kind of way of operating. Well, maybe not smarter. Sorry, no, smarter is the wrong word.
Leaner.
It's leaner, and they're also a little bit more reserved in how they operate.
Yeah.
Sony has
Which
more of
I'm
a...
fine with.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Canon's very reserved in how they operate, and they're #1 manufacturer. So, you know, clearly that methodology works. Sony's methodology works as well. It just depends on how you operate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Fuji has quite a reserved mentality. So I don't think they would have done the same thing as Sony, because Sony was just throwing money.
That's why I think they're right not to try and... I mean, I guess the market was different at the time, but...
Vastly different.
That's certainly why they shouldn't try and compete now.
Not now.
And I think in retrospect, that's why it was a good decision not to. Because they couldn't have competed with the sheer money that Fuji... I keep saying the wrong manufacturer now. The sheer money that Sony and Canon can throw at stuff.
Fuji's a huge company.
I know, but not as huge as Sony, are they?
Comparable.
But they... Really?
Yeah.
In terms of monetary turnover?
In terms of in terms of sheer operational size, they're huge. Huge. Trump hands, huge.
Those are tiny. Trump hands are tiny.
No, honestly, they're massive as a company. Oh yeah. It's like, how'd you do it?
It's like that, isn't it?
Like that, yeah. Huge. They're a massive company. They've got a lot of money that they can throw on things.
Yeah.
If they want to, but they don't. They're very reserved in how they operate. The only area where they've been... But they played it smart in one thing. Maybe it was a good idea for them to do that because the only place where they truly make money in terms of the camera division, and I'm talking like real money, is Instax.
Mm-hmm.
Instax is making so much money for them that maybe their APS-C and medium format camera system is just a reputation builder. Because they don't make a great deal of money on it, right? It's all just, maybe that part is just theater. So they can make real money from their Instax. So the people that buy, because it just builds the brand, doesn't it?
So you're saying it's a conspiracy?
No, it's building
All
the brand.
Fuji cameras are built to sell Instax film.
Yeah.
Not even the Instax cameras, just the film.
Yeah. No, because it builds the brand, right? You have the reputation, you have the brand, you have that professional feel, you have that high-end look to yourself because they've got the high-end equipment. It's not like their equipment's just acting like it's high-end. No, it really is like some of the best equipment that you can buy. But they sell more. They make more money from their Instax.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really seriously see that as a thread, but
I'm just plucking bullshit from the ether.
no change there.
No.
So you pretty much picked the ether dry by now.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I'm not one to talk, I know, but
No, you're not, because you're sat here talking shit with me.
this is why I said we shouldn't do a cigar one, because it'd be pure
unadulterated bullshit.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's what it is, though, isn't it? The cigar channel, what? There's nothing serious about it. There's no journalistic integrity.
Speak for yourself. I've still got my card.
Have you got your card?
Yeah.
You still got it?
I'm not handing that back in.
Ever? Can I have a copy?
It'll expire eventually.
Yeah. How long have you got it for?
I don't even know.
10 years? 5 years?
Mid next year, I think.
Oh, that sucks.
I'll still keep it.
Yeah. People aren't going to check the date.
People aren't going to check it.
No.
I think in the time I've had...
Just flash it, right?
I think in the 5.5 years I've been carrying a press card, it's maybe been checked like 5 times.
Yeah, but even then, you don't... I've never been asked for a press card either.
Well, you wouldn't be.
No, exactly. Oh, what are you trying to say?
You never leave the house, mate.
All my videos are shot outside! Except this one. Anyway, Fuji. I think Fuji... Maybe the autofocus as well.
I can't really comment on that. I don't know.
Okay, autofocus for video, not for stills. For stills, could do better. But I'm comparing it to Sony. Maybe that's an unfair comparison. Maybe, maybe Sony's autofocus is just a lot better than what's reasonable. Maybe Sony and Canon's autofocus is just way better than what is normal.
But that's not really how it works, is it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't, does it? No. I mean, Sony and Canon's autofocus is just in a different league.
You can't say that they're being unfair just by being good.
Yeah, but Fuji's not putting that much money into their cameras compared to Canon and Sony are.
I mean, let's be honest.
And that makes sense because they make more money from Instax.
Fuji cameras are not set up for video. Really.
No, Fuji seems a little uncertain about video.
Yeah, well, like they brought out the XH1, which was sort of a video camera.
That was a dud. That was a dud.
Maybe not, sort of.
So I really
that's about as close as they came though. Bearing in mind Fuji have such a rich broadcasting heritage and film heritage.
Exactly. They make cine lenses.
Yeah. They make probably
some of the
probably the most expensive single lens you could buy.
Yeah.
Right on the market.
Yeah. Which is the broadcast lens.
Yeah, the big.
So they know what they're doing in this area. It's not like they're amateur. They are freaking experts in this particular area. So,
but their expertise is in lenses.
Well, that's even worse. Then
that's
even worse. I'll tell you why. The main reason Fuji cameras, the main reason the Fuji system sucks for video is not because of their cameras, because their cameras are relatively capable with their autofocus, right? Phase detect, autofocus, eye detect, and all those features in there. The lenses just aren't geared towards video, and the reason for that is kind of like it's because they didn't really have the foresight at the time. I don't think any camera manufacturer did, to be fair.
No.
So it's not really me isolating Fuji or picking them out on this one, because it's not. No manufacturer, even Canon, thought video was a fad. Right? They had the 5D Mark II.
Yep.
And their camera was being bought for video. 5D Mark III. People were buying it for video. And they still didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you not know your own market? Do you know what I mean? I don't know how Canon fumbled into success there, but they did.
I mean, the 5D2, I guess you could be somewhat forgiven for not quite spotting it, but the 5D3, I mean, how many people do you know that bought that for video? I think pretty much every photographer I know that shoots Canon or shot Canon.
Precisely. They bought that camera because, not just for its stills capabilities, but because it was the first ever full frame camera. that shot video.
The number of, like, online advertising reels shot with a 5D3 must be astronomical.
So I didn't.
PR pieces and stuff.
Whole episodes of House and so on were not whole episodes. Sorry, major chunks of TV series were shot on the 5D Mark II and III.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Didn't know that.
Not like the main shots, but clips which are difficult to get. You can get a 5D and just shove it in something, right? I mean, a cinema camera is massive and bulky.
Yeah.
So if you want like a really good quality clip from a particular angle and you can't get a cinema camera in, 5D, gaffer tape, done.
Yeah.
You can't do that as well with a cinema camera.
There were no specialized products really for that at the time. There were, but they weren't very good.
Yeah. So Canon.
There are now.
I mean, I might be dunking a little bit on Fuji because they didn't have the foresight for video, but none of the manufacturers had it. Canon is the worst for it because they didn't even know their own market, Like, it was in their back garden.
And Canon didn't just make lenses.
No.
For video.
Do you know what I mean? But this is the problem with Fuji. Fuji's...
Sorry, go on.
Go on, no.
I was going to say, that's the other thing, is that these expensive Fuji lenses are being put on Canon and Sony cameras.
Like the EF mount is quite popular for cinema as well.
Yeah.
So Fujifilm just didn't think that video was going to be a major component of their cameras. So it was kind of like a passing thought, and all of their lenses were designed predominantly for focusing for stills. Mm-hmm. Just back and forward, contrast detect, phase detect, maybe. Even then, phase detect wasn't really something that they had considered. It was just contrast detect autofocus, right? So their lenses aren't really up to task when it comes to autofocus. So that's why whenever you use some of their older lenses and start trying to film video, it looks horrible.
Right.
It looks horrible. However, they have updated it. They have changed. Their new lenses, much better for video. Vastly better. Some of the firmware updates that they've been releasing have vastly improved the autofocus. And I'm seeing it in my own camera. Like when I first got it, it was terrible for autofocus in video. It was just, how when you focus from one point to another, it used to look like a smartphone. It would snap into focus. It looked horrible.
Oh, you mean racking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it actually goes in and out of focus. It's still not like perfectly smooth, but it's leagues better than what it was when it first started.
Yeah. I mean, I remember picking up what was it? I remember picking up, I think it was a Sony at the time. It was a few years ago now. It was the first time I picked up a Sony and I tried to autofocus focus rack.
Yeah, good luck.
No, but it was good luck until that point. And then I tried it and I'm like, crap, it works.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Which one?
I can't remember. That's what I was trying to remember.
Because now they're brilliant.
Yeah. Now they're even better. But like then the fact that it didn't go, didn't go past the thing you want, then come back a bit.
Yeah, that's how contrast detect worked, right?
Exactly.
He used to try and find the subject as opposed to focus on the subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, now the autofocus in Sony and Canon is just unbelievably good.
Here's looking at you, Panasonic.
Moving on to Panasonic. Fuji were done. I think we talked about Fuji for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Panasonic though, like they've got everything going for them, right?
Panasonic though.
No, but think about it. They've got everything practically going for them.
Yeah.
They've got a great lens selection.
Yep.
They've got Sigma lenses as well.
Yep.
Which are brilliant. Yep. My favorite lens at the moment is a 65 f2. Love that lens. Love that lens.
They've got build quality. They've got ergonomics. The S1?
Yeah. They've got brilliant video
features. The S5 I held, but the S5, really lovely to hold camera. Yeah. Really nice to use.
Exactly. They've got a great menu system. They've got decent color science-ish.
They've got good stabilization.
Great stabilization. And they've got brilliant video features.
Mm-hmm.
Stills as well.
Yep.
There's not much that they need to do, but for God's sake.
The GH5, didn't they?
Yeah. What is up with contrast detect and Panasonic? I don't know why they're so stuck on that.
Even you could forgive them in their lower end cameras, but Christ,
their flagship?
The GH5 even is sold as a video camera with stills functionality. Can they not get the patent for it or something?
I don't know. I know Leica can't get it until Panasonic does. Because it's what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's a rehoused Panasonic. That's not a bad thing, because Leica do have a particular way of doing things which does make their camera slightly nicer. Actually does, noticeably better in some areas. Colors for one. Leica does a better job on colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, Leica can't get it until Panasonic does, so, you know. They're just like tapping at Panasonic's like leg. Hey, can we have phase tech, please? So yeah, we're not going to see phase detect in any Leicas until Panasonic gets it, and Panasonic is being pretty stubborn about. I don't know why they're being stubborn about it.
I was speaking to the guy in the shop the other day, and it was baffling both of us. Just
But whenever you speak to Panasonic, they're just like, well, it's because contrast detect is, and I'm like, no, look, listen, don't. As soon as they start that sentence, I already fade out, because I know what they're going to say. It's the same typical nonsense, which is like, contrast detect is more precise. It's like, in what world?
yeah.
It'd be more precise if you can find the subject.
I mean, yeah. We're not.
We don't care about...
There's enough real world examples of phase detect being absolutely precise.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I get what they're saying, right?
1, 2. Like.
I get what they're saying. The point they're making is, when the camera says it's in focus, contrast detect is more precise. Like, it will nail focus perfectly. Granted. Maybe about 5 years ago. But now, that's not the case.
Well, it is the case, but it's not. It's the comparison with phase detect is not.
No, that's what I mean. Because before, phase detect was a little less precise. It might have been a little bit smoother in terms of how you operated, but it was a little less precise when you said it was in focus. This is why we had to do things like calibrate our cameras, right?
Yeah.
Right? Remember, we had to lens calibrations and all this kind of nonsense. But with mirrorless, because it's focusing from the sensor, not from a separate module, the argument doesn't it doesn't stand anymore. So every time they say that nonsense, I just kind of like, oh, for God's sakes, please, can you just like get a grip? Like, I don't know, go into a camera store, have a look at some of the other cameras. Have you tried a Sony? Yeah. Surely you must know what your competitors are doing, right? Look at a Canon R6. It's not even that expensive, relatively speaking.
Well, even what the RP had.
Yeah, even the RP had phase detect.
That's $1,000.
So it just annoys me when they come up with the same.
Even Nikon.
Did Nikon come up with that bullshit as well?
I don't know. No, I mean even Nikon have got it.
Oh, even Nikon's had phase detect for like forever. They didn't do much with it, but they've done something with it now. Another company that keeps bullshitting this excuse is Hasselblad. Right. Look, the real answer is the 100 megapixel sensor is a bit expensive. We can't make a camera which is going to be able to compete with Fujifilm at this stage, because we don't have the same manufacturing process that Fuji has. Fine, makes sense.
They could make it, but it wouldn't be cost effective.
No, it wouldn't be cost effective, and especially with the current market, it just wouldn't fly. Makes sense. But don't turn around and say stuff like, oh, it's because contrast detect is... No, it's not. It sucks. We know this.
Yeah.
It's old.
You could probably walk up to any photographer and just do that.
They'll know what it means, right?
Yeah. Panasonic.
Oh, Panasonic. They're the easy ones to make fun of at the moment. They're the Nikon now. They're the new Nikon.
I genuinely, you've heard me say this before. I really want to like Panasonic cameras. Even the Micro Four Thirds ones. I know that's controversial.
No, the Micro Four Thirds cameras are brilliant.
Yeah, but
for video.
Yeah, but a lot of people think the lens mount wants to die.
No, I don't think Panasonic and Olympus are good. I hope it doesn't. I really hope Micro Four Thirds sticks around for as long as possible.
Olympus as well. That's the other one.
Yeah.
I really want to like Olympus cameras.
It's easy to make fun of them.
Yeah.
As a spectator, as a journalist, as someone who writes articles, you know, it's easy to make fun of them. But truthfully, I don't want Panasonic and Olympus to drop the Micro Four Thirds mount. Hell no.
Oh, foot mount, yeah.
Yeah, no, that mount needs to stay. That mount is brilliant. It's an extremely useful mount. The sensor size is a decent size. I mean, if anything, drop the 1-inch sensor. No, I don't give a crap about the 1-inch sensor.
It's also easy to explain the crop factor to people.
Yeah. How big is it?
Double it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's 2 times, you know, if it's a 15 mil, it's a 30 mil.
Yeah.
Ish.
You don't have to really do that much maths.
No.
But
so I hope it doesn't go.
Like the OMD, what was it? The big chunky boy that Olympus make.
Oh, the full frame size camera.
Well, it's not quite that big, but
yeah, it is.
No, it isn't though. But
it is, man.
No, but
listen.
No, wait. This is the point I was going to make, because I literally had a D4 with me when I compared it. It's not as big.
Okay, you're comparing it to a D4.
Listen,
I'm comparing it to full frame.
No, but it's it's got a vertical grip integrated. On paper, the specs of that camera are insane.
Yeah, but it's a brilliant camera.
And it's lovely to hold,
yeah.
And it's lovely to use. You just can't take photos in the dark.
I mean, you can.
You can, but...
Because the stabilization is pretty good.
Yeah, but that's not... When you're talking about a camera that has vertical grips integrated, you're generally not using it. Someone who buys a camera like that is not using it for still subjects. Let's be honest.
What are you using it for then? Not video.
No, for things that move.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I see.
If you're buying a camera of that sort of build.
Yeah.
Like that vertical grip thing is a photojournalist type thing, isn't it? Or a sports photographer type thing.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Stabilization doesn't do much for you then.
No. Just tell the subject to don't move.
Yeah.
Don't move him.
You just do it again.
Yeah. Don't move.
You just score that goal again.
Yeah. Stop blinking.
Stop. Just stop and score the goal. Stop the ball.
Yeah. No, stop there. Hold it.
Freeze frame.
It's a 5-second shutter.
It's like GCSE drama.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, but a faster lens maybe, but then even that wouldn't really. No, because you need it to be way too. You need it to be like super wide aperture.
Yeah,
like crazy
3
wide.
or 4 stops basically.
Yeah, but the problem actually, do you know what?
But then also you wouldn't focus on anything, so you...
No, f1 on Micro Four Thirds is equivalent to like f2, so depth of field is
even then you still have an issue.
No, f2 isn't that shallow.
It is when you're using long lenses, which you're often doing for stuff like that.
So 100mm f1 would be like a 200mm f2.
Yeah.
That's pretty shallow.
Yeah. At distance you're okay, I guess, but still.
But, okay. If we're not discussing the longer end, if we're just discussing like the standard range of focal lengths and so on, they don't have any super wide aperture lenses anyway.
No.
Like the widest aperture I can think of is f1.7. No, f1.2, sorry.
Yeah, well, getting wider than that is physically difficult anyway, isn't it? Just in terms of manufacturing, like it's not... Or optics even, it's not easy to make an f1 lens, is it?
Just get a full frame lens, innit? Put it on. And use a focal reducer.
Is it time to explain crop factors to us, man?
No, listen, yeah. You get a focal reducer or something like that, right? Because they do it all the time, right? You get a medium format lens or a full frame lens, focal reducer, put it on to like the Sigma 18 to 35. Do you know those Metabones adapters? Yeah. So if that's feasible, I don't think it should be that difficult to produce a really wide aperture lens. It's a small sensor, right? So you're scaling things down accordingly to that particular sensor. So the image circle needs to just cover a smaller portion. So the optics required don't need to be as big as a full frame lens, anywhere near as a big full frame lens. And even if we're talking about like, f1 lenses are difficult, we've got f1.2 lenses on full frame. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's still a challenge trying to...
I mean, f1.2 on a full frame, that's vastly larger than an f1
But
on...
you're still trying to keep your, your aperture the same as your entrance. Words have failed me right now. You know what I mean?
Size of the
The
entrance.
two things need to be the same size.
The entrance people, yeah.
Getting them to flow in a straight line and
Yeah.
also work at angles is not an easy thing to do.
People are doing it, manufacturers are doing it quite comfortably for larger formats. We've got f1.2 and f1 lenses for full frame.
Yeah.
We've got f0.95 lenses for full frame. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's impossible.
So producing an f1 lens for a smaller format.
But I also just don't think you get enough of a benefit. I mean, okay.
You do, because it's a light. It's a light gathering ability. That's the key thing.
But I was going to say, in terms of light gathering ability, that's not, you don't get a huge benefit from that. In terms of depth of field and stuff, yeah, okay, anything is good, but
No, you get more of a benefit in light gathering ability than you do in depth of field,
yeah.
right?
But I'm saying you don't get a huge amount in light gathering ability. Whereas in terms of depth of field, anything is fine. Any gain is good.
But you do get you obviously get a good benefit when it comes to light gathering ability. Of course you do. If you're going from f1.8 to f1.2, that's a significant jump.
It's
more than double.
1.2 was the fastest you.
Hmm?
I think you said 1.2 was already the fastest you.
Yeah, so if you go from 1.2 to let's say f0.8 or something.
Oh, is that what? Okay, I was thinking 1.
No, wider, because f0.8 would be like what, an f1.6 on full frame. So it's not unreasonable. Yeah, it's going to be a big lens. I get it, but you've got big bodies. You've got a double grip body.
Yeah.
It's not like your bodies can't accommodate it, or maybe the mount is too weak. Maybe that might be it. I don't know. But anyway, Panasonic, Olympus, those manufacturers. Autofocus man. Contrast detect needs to go.
Autofocus man. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's blurry.
It might. No, that's fine. Sorry. Phase 1. Do you know anything about the Phase 1 cameras?
No, because you haven't reviewed enough of them for me to test them out.
They won't give me one anymore. Actually, no, they said that they'll give me the XT.
Right.
I said, when? We'll get back to you. I'd love to review the XT. I don't think they want anyone to review the XT because, well, why would they need it? Leica doesn't want anyone to review the S3 either.
That smells of resting on your laurels to me.
No, that's more of a fact because as soon as any reviewer gets it in their hands, what's the first thing they're going to say? Oh, GFX in it. That's the first thing anyone's going to say because that's the first dumbass thing I'm going to say.
Yeah, and why shouldn't you?
Exactly. I love Leica.
I mean, it's a free market. Like you don't have to subject your stuff to scrutiny. If people are gonna, people aren't being forced to buy it, but at the same time, the journalist in me wants.
But they don't need to because the market that buys those cameras are definitely going to upgrade.
Sure.
So
yeah, no, I get that.
So who are they?
I know they don't need to. I know they don't have an obligation to.
I wish they would.
I feel like they should.
But they know that what's the answer? Well, the GFX is half the price, a third of the price, and potentially better.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the answer for anyone new who's looking to buy it. And the people who are already looking to buy it aren't probably going to watch the reviews anyway, or a very, very tiny, negligible proportion of them are going to watch the reviews. So,
and even if they do watch it, they don't care anyway.
Exactly.
But I can't even see you through this.
So I think they're not going to do it, and it's not reasonable. It's not worth it. It's not worth the bad marketing for them.
Yeah.
Because they already know what the answer is going to be.
Yeah.
But who are we going to talk about? Phase 1. Phase 1. For a long time, there was only one thing that they needed to do. Put an extra freaking card slot in there, man. Like they had one CF card. I know everyone keeps going on about, oh, it's whatever, you only need one. And Phase 1 had this one typical thing that they used to say to me, right? It goes, yeah, but it's a really good CF card slot.
What? Did they actually say that?
Yeah.
Did they really?
Because the chances of corruption are very slim. Because when you put the card in, phase one will check the card properly and make sure that it doesn't get corrupted. But it could get corrupted elsewhere.
Yeah.
What are you on about? Just put in an SD. Hasselblad had an SD card slot next to the CF well before. No, Hasselblad.
Well, how much of an issue was it when is it Canon? No, Sony brought out.
Sony, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's only got one card slot, isn't it? How much of an uproar was there?
A different market though.
I know.
Because most people that shoot with a phase one, unlike me,
all like 10 of them.
they all tethered to a laptop.
Yeah.
I don't want to
There's
tether
also
to
not enough people to raise that much of a ruckus.
No. I don't want to tether to a laptop. Ever.
Ever?
No. I hate outside. Indoors?
Oh yeah, outside. No. God,
Yeah,
no.
because I'm shooting architecture, right?
Who
I want to be nimble.
Does anyone want to tether outside?
People do.
Do they?
With a phase one, yeah.
Weirdos.
They do. But I don't have time for that. I'm going to do an iPad, right? I don't want cables sticking out. I don't want to have to put something down on a freaking table next to it. What's this nonsense? iPad
Right,
mini.
time to take a shot. I'm just going to set up my table and my bench and my laptop and my power supply and my...
I just don't have the patience for it. So I think that's why, from their perspective, it's like, well, the CF card slot, most people don't use, most of our customers don't use it anyway. And I'm like, yeah, but when I rent it, I don't want... There's no point. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Actually, no, I'm going to say, whenever I rent
This
the
channel doesn't
cameras...
have rant in the title.
Yeah, it doesn't. But whenever I rent a phase one, it just gets me a little bit anxious that it doesn't have that extra card slot because I've spent all this money on renting. It's obviously a big project because I'm not going to rent the phase one for like, photographing some small, I'm not going to rent a phase one for, I don't know, photographing a living room in someone's house. It's just not going to happen.
Unless it's a really expensive house.
And they're paying a lot of money.
They're paying you a lot of money to do it.
But no, even then I wouldn't. I just take that as an extra margin. What are you printing on? Oh, we're printing on this. Okay, great. That's a phase one. Are you printing on this? No, it's just online. Great. Sony, Canon, 5DSR, done. I'm still on the 5DSR.
What was it we worked out? If you printed 100 megapixels at billboard resolution, you could cover a football field.
Yeah.
I think that was what we worked out. Wasn't it?
Yeah. Because the DPI is so low.
Yeah.
But anyway, phase one. I don't know if they've rectified. I think they have. I think they have added in the second card slot. I haven't checked because I keep renting the older ones because I don't need anything more than 100 megapixels. I say keep. I haven't rented a phase one in a while. But when I did, it was always the 100 megapixel one because it was less expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't need 150. But the one thing that phase one needs to do, above all else, pixel shift.
See,
what's going on?
I have never needed to use pixel shift.
It's useful.
I've never used it at all, in fact.
It's useful.
I'll have to take your word for that. I believe you, but I don't know why.
Not for architecture though.
Well, what is it useful for?
Useless for architecture. Utterly useless. Interiors, yeah. But if you're outside,
But why would you need that resolution?
who said anyone needs anything? Who needs 150 megapixels? Right?
But if you've got 150 megapixels to play with, why do you need 600?
Because more is more. Look, eventually we're going to get a 600 megapixel camera. Right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to say, who needs 600 megapixels? It doesn't matter who needs it.
But
It's
we're
the fact that
already
it's
saying
there.
who needs 24, let alone...
Yeah. I mean, the Hasselblad can produce 400 megapixel files.
But the reason why that's not quite the same thing in my mind is that
What?
you have to actively do something different to shoot a pixel shift image, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is a process involved as opposed to just natively shooting a
Well, I'll
high
tell you why.
resolution. And just natively shooting high resolution, you don't need a tripod, you don't need, you can shoot anything at that resolution.
So, the key reason is the market that phase one and Hasselblad cameras, those particular cameras, are aimed at. So the Hasselblad H60 400C is marketed particularly for people that want that level of ridiculous detail, right? Art galleries, people who are, you know, reproducing things and archiving things and whatever else, right? That's basically what it's designed for.
Fair point. Yep.
So it's in that market. It's in the market for people who are already going to spend that much money.
Reproduction and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get you.
So
Fair
with
point.
phase one, they've got 150 megapixel sensor. Great sensor. But if they just applied some pixel shift features in there, they would have the best of all of it. And here's the thing though. The reason why I think phase one is primed for this is because they've got the XT camera system. They've already got lenses that can control the perspective and control the focus plane.
So, explain that just
So-
for the viewers.
Okay, so I need that
Because I
lens.
barely know what you're talking about.
So when you have a camera system where, so most cameras, if you're pointing a camera straight, the vertical lines of whatever you're shooting are going to be straight.
Sorry, I mean the XT system.
Oh,
Yeah.
the XT system, it's kind of like a tilt shift lens. So the whole system is like a tilt shift lens. So you can, the back of the camera, so the lens remains fixed and the back where the sensor is. So the sensor will actually move up and down, left and right. And the sensor will actually move around. So what you see is, you know, you can actually, instead of tilting the camera up and down, you can just move the sensor down or sensor up and you'll get more of the frame in without having to get any weird distortions. So that's how the XT system works.
The analogy is like with old large format cameras where you'd be
Yeah.
shifting the lens around, but imagine the lens is the bit that's on your tripod and you're just moving the other end.
Yeah, basically. So you could do that with phase one before anyway, because you just attach their back to like a Linhof or something,
Yeah.
you know, a technical camera. But now phase one produced their own technical camera, and it's really nicely polished in terms of like the way it looks.
Shiny.
No, it's just like polished, you know, it's just like,
Shiny camera.
yeah, it's just designed in a way which looks like a phase one. It doesn't look like a Frankenstein camera system. It doesn't look like you've got one bit from here and a bit from there and this, you know what I mean? It looks like a fully functioning proper camera system that does a great job. So you've got the perspective control in the camera already.
Yep.
That's the best system for reproduction. Potentially.
Yeah.
600 megapixel files, full control over perspective.
It does look quite funky as well.
It's an ugliest sin camera.
Oh yeah, ugly but funky.
Yeah,
Quite sort of futuristically ugly.
yeah. But it's ugly in a way that it won't age badly. It's weird.
Because it already is.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That's,
Like, I
that's not
can't-
fair, but you know what I mean.
But it's not going to age badly. Even in 10 years from now, when you look back at that camera, it's just going to be like, oh yeah, that's the Phase 1 XT. You're not going to look at it and think, that's ugly, isn't it? It just...
That's like Sigma's cameras.
No, Sigma's cameras are ugly. Sigma cameras. I love you, Sigma. I really,
Those
really...
cameras are nice, but
No. Those cameras are not nice.
Are they?
The sensor is nice.
okay, yes.
That sensor is lovely. They've got some magic in those sensors, but that camera is duds. Honestly, they got the worst possible everything and put it together.
I'm not quite sure. I want to see the hands of the person who designed the ergonomics for that camera. Oh,
Yeah.
this is my hand. No, it's not even that shape. It's more like
Yeah.
that, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it overheats. The menu system sucks. The autofocus is terrible. Everything that could be wrong with the camera is wrong in that camera.
But once it works, it takes very nice
It
pictures.
takes some of the best pictures I've seen, honestly. Like I would have I strongly considered buying it.
Yeah, I know you did.
I know, right?
I know you did.
I was just sat there like, yeah,
I
but
was tempted as well.
it's such a good camera once you take the picture. But up until that point, you're going to hate every minute of it. The viewfinder's in the wrong place.
Yeah,
The viewfinder's in the wrong place.
yeah. There's not really an excuse for that except with rangefinders, is there?
You're just like, huh? Have you seen that meme where that person's holding the camera at a weird angle,
Yeah.
and then they take the camera on, the eyes like over there?
Yeah.
That's what the Sigma camera is. Honestly, everything, absolutely everything is wrong in that camera, but it takes the best pictures I've seen in a long while. It's comparable to Phase 1, honestly.
Oh, it's lovely. Yeah,
It was
image
so
quality-wise,
good.
lovely.
I couldn't believe the image quality.
Who's the? Oh, I've forgotten his name now. The guy who comes to the Sigma stand.
Lovely fella, lovely
West
fella.
Country bloke.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I've forgotten your name.
Oh, he's such a nice guy. I forgot his name as well.
Oh,
It's not Tim.
no, it's gone. Yes, some of the images he'd printed out were,
Yeah, they're just.
and he
gorgeous.
hadn't printed them small.
No.
You know, the colours on them were phenomenal.
See, I don't trust the print file. I mean, the print
Well,
image.
It's obviously
as
going
a
to be
demonstrator.
changed, isn't it? But
Yeah.
Either way, the results were lovely.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly. When you look at the results that camera produces, it's some of the best, and that's why it's a shame that Sigma haven't been able to produce. Maybe it's not their fault. It's just limitations on technology or something. I don't know, but they haven't been able to produce a full frame version of it just yet.
I just want them to put it in a nicely shaped box
Yeah.
that mere mortals can hold, not aliens. Maybe that's it.
Maybe it was designed for a
Designed
different
by the
kind of
lizard
person.
people.
Oh man, I love how you know
Maybe
what
that's
it
why
is.
it's so good. It's alien tech
No, maybe I think I know what it is. Right, I think
for a
Yeah.
really cold planet.
you know how when you're in like university or whatever, or whenever you meet up with university students and they have like these funky ideas, like yeah, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do that. I feel like their marketing department or their production development team, they were like that as well. Yeah, and it's gonna be like a weird shape, and it's gonna look like a boomerang, but it's gonna have this like little square at the end. Yeah, like.
And the viewfinder can be here,
Like a rangefinder.
but not.
Oh yeah, and they've got a lump in the middle as well. Exactly where the viewfinder could go.
I'm sorry, Sigma. We really do. They know we like them.
Because I've talked to Paul about this, right? And I've told him how much I love the camera, but also how much I loved making fun of the camera.
Yeah. Maybe that's the other reason they just, they thought they'd throw us a bone in terms of humour. They need some jokes.
Oh, I really, really want that camera.
Do you know what's even funnier?
Yeah,
Is
go
that maybe 90% of people who use cameras, photographers or amateurs or whatever, probably don't even know this camera exists.
But it's one of the best.
If you were a newbie photographer,
Yeah.
or not even just newbie, like an enthusiastic amateur, you know what cameras look like. You think you're going to buy yourself a camera. You see a picture of that, you think that can't be a good camera. You just wouldn't buy it on that principle, would you?
The Sigma camera is the epitome of bad design over functionality.
Maybe you could 3D print a housing for it.
No. Where would you put it? Because it's like...
Just encase the whole thing in plastic.
What is
Move
this-
the grip over
Oh,
here
wait,
so that it's in the
is it-
viewfinder's in the middle
What is it?
again.
The Sigma Merrill, right? Yeah. I think that's what it's called. The Sigma Merrill. And then there's the high resolution one as well.
I can't remember what it's called. That's actually a very good point.
But when I wrote the article about it, I did dunk on it hard, but then I talked about why I still love the camera. Really? You're going to search it up now?
I can't remember.
Doesn't matter.
It's the
doesn't matter.
DP3 that was the really funky one. Wasn't
Oh
it?
yeah, the DP3.
It's like it's that thin, but then also that fat.
Yeah. It's fat and thin at the same time.
Yeah.
He hasn't quite made up his mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about what Sigma needs to do. Don't make cameras. Sell the sensor technology. Yeah, why doesn't Sigma just sell the sensor technology?
Don't know.
Maybe no one wants to buy it.
Maybe. Don't know why.
Yeah, it's they should make medium format version of that. No, actually, do you know what? No, just make a full frame version of that. That would be some of the best image quality on full frame comfortably. No one produces colors like Sigma. It's the only organic color rendition that any camera manufacturer can produce.
Or make a 4/3 version and team up with Panasonic or Olympus or something. Why not?
Nah, I think it defeats the purpose then.
It does a little bit, but still.
Because the whole purpose of that is image quality, right?
Yeah.
And Micro Four Thirds is a little bit too small because the biggest sensor they produce is the APS-H. APS-H is in between APS-C and full frame.
It's 1.2 or something, isn't it?
1.3.
Yeah.
Decent size, but their lenses are full frame, so make a full frame version. But they're having a bit of trouble with that. So if they can't make it and they're having trouble with that, then maybe they should just perfect the sensor and then sell it to someone or give it to Panasonic and say, here, Panasonic, this is a particular sensor that we have. What if you produced a really high resolution camera geared just towards image quality? Doesn't do video. This is just straight best image quality you can ever produce on full frame. And that sensor is probably capable. What's the ISO? Don't worry about ISO, okay? It shoots at 100, shut up. Get more lights.
Increase the sun.
Yeah.
Get a tripod.
Basically, yeah. There's no ISO, okay? What's the ISO limit? It goes up to 400, that's it. Okay? You know, shoot with a lower ISO, okay? It goes down to ISO 50. ISO 50 to ISO 200. That's it. That's the limit. There's no low light performance. There's nothing, there's no such thing as high ISO performance.
Low light performance is excellent.
Yeah.
You just need to stay very still.
Does he have stabilization? No. No.
Because it's attach it to a tripod.
Yeah. There's no stabilization. You need to shoot it on a tripod. Yeah, that if you just make it a pure photographer's camera.
So basically, integrate the camera into the tripod.
Yeah.
And you sort it. It's a tripod that takes pictures.
Basically, yeah. So we've covered Panasonic, or dunked on them. We've covered. I don't think we can.
Mercilessly covered Sigma.
Yeah. What can Leica do? Just carry on doing what you're doing. Basically, Leica's doing fine. What should we expect from them? It's not like they're going to change anything until, before Panasonic does. And the M series is still the M series. There's nothing that Leica needs to do on their M series to make it better.
Yeah. From my perspective, there's things that I would like them to do, but from their perspective, nah.
What kind of things would you like them to do?
Well, like going back to the fact that one of the things they said was that the SL2 was a great camera to wear. For me, that's a silly thing to try and market a camera on, but it works for them. It's Leica.
Yeah.
I don't think they should change it for their sake. I don't think they should change that.
No, their market's fine.
For my sake, yeah, okay. For my sake, they need to make them a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And give me one. Or make them more expensive and give me one.
Yeah.
Basically, they need to give me one.
Yeah. I want an M10R. I really want an M10R.
Them. That's just going to help me.
I want an M10R. I really want an M10R. One of the best cameras I've shot with in a long time.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
One of the best. Top 5. Easily.
Even if you don't shoot any pictures with it.
Yeah. I don't care what the pictures look like. I just like shooting with it.
How can it be nice just to hold something? I still don't really get that.
It's not even comfortable.
No.
The ergonomics suck.
Or it's just similar with iPhones, things like that. Like an iPhone, it's slippery. It slips out your hand. It's really hard. You can't use it with one hand. It's just a nice thing to hold, though. Yeah. Why? Because it's heavy. It's not just because it's heavy.
It's got a satisfying weight to it, considering its size. It's made of really nice, tactile kind of materials.
Things, yeah.
Glass, metal, and it just feels premium. Same with the Leica M10R. Just has that. It just feels. I love shooting with it. I don't care how good the pictures look or whether I got it in focus or whether anything, whether I can pull. Yeah, I really don't care. I don't care. I just like shooting with it.
And that's good because, again, you won't get it in focus.
And even if you do, it's a soft lens. So yeah, Leica. Nothing Leica needs to do. They're fine. Sony.
Menus?
No, menus are better. Colors are a little bit better.
Colors. I've seen. Menus I haven't played with, I must admit.
The colors are a little bit better now, but it also comes down. I've found that it makes a difference when you. One of the biggest differences you can have on Sony's color is lens choice. If you use certain lenses, their colors are actually really nice. Like the Sigma 60.
Much though, is it? If you use a nice lens, you get nice results.
No, but it's not even like an expensive lens. Like the Sigma 65 is only like 500 quid.
True. True.
So it's not like a super nice lens, is it? I mean, it is a super nice lens, but it's not one of those expensive lenses. I'm just talking about lens choice. I find when you use a Sigma 65mm lens on that camera, colors are really good. And also if you don't use Lightroom. No, but that's not a point against Lightroom. I'll tell you why. It's not a point against Lightroom because Lightroom is just doing its job in trying to represent what the raw file looked like from Sony.
Yep.
Because Lightroom is just mimicking Sony's profile. That's all Lightroom does.
Yep.
So that's why the colors suck. Because Lightroom just wants it to look like what Sony wants their images to look like. Capture One doesn't give a crap about what Sony wants their file to look like. Capture One's like, no, you're wrong. This is what it's supposed to look like. So Capture One will do its own profile and its own way of interpreting the image. And that's why it looks better in Capture One. Got very little to do with Lightroom. This is one of the reasons why Canon files look so good in Lightroom. Not to say that they look better than Capture One because it comes down to preference, but Canon files look great.
Yeah.
You open up in Lightroom and the colors are vivid, they're beautiful. I looked at the EOS R5, the new Canon profiles are finally in Lightroom. They're they're very close to Canon's profile and the colors are lovely.
Right.
They're really good. Capture Ones look good as well, but they go in a different direction.
Just as a side point, if we're bringing Adobe into this, why does it take so long to get profiles into Lightroom?
I don't know. I think it might be just licensing or something, or I don't know.
It's not like surely they had access to these cameras before they came out.
But I think they have to get the profiles off Canon, don't they?
Yeah.
I think one side is just being slow. Or maybe Canon just wants you to use their own software.
Very slow.
Maybe Canon wants you to use their own software and they're just kind of like, I don't know.
Do they really? I mean, I've never seen Canon push software ever.
They do talk about it.
Do they?
Yeah. I don't know if they push it or not.
I've never seen it.
I've seen them talk about it.
I don't even know what it is.
Digital photography.
So you've heard them talk about it, and even you don't know it.
No, I've used it and I don't know what it's called. I've made a whole video about it and I can't remember what it's called. It sucks though. The software sucks.
That's what
the results it produces are good, very good actually, because it's Canon knows what their camera is supposed to look like, right? So the end results are really, really nice, but the software sucks hard. But I don't expect Canon to do anything in their software, and I'm not going to ask them to either. But Sony, what do you think Sony should do?
What do I think Sony should do? I mean, if many
Stop putting a crop factor on their 4K 60p.
Yes.
What's up with the Sony A7 IV? What is that? What is that?
It's nearly 2022. Come on.
They've been behind on 4K 60p for so long, and they knew that the A7S III would have been immediately dropped by everyone if they put good 4K 60p in the A7 IV. And the reason for that is because, well, it's obvious. Customers want a high resolution camera around 24 to 30 that has good 4K 60p. That's all they want. They don't want to have to compromise with a shit freaking low resolution sensor. And people talk about how it's good for low light. Not for photography. Makes no difference. And even for video, it doesn't ring true. Doesn't ring true. Because when you scale down from 6K to 4K, that looks vastly better than 12 megapixel 4K or 8.8 megapixel 4K.
Yeah.
It looks vastly better. So this idea that a low resolution sensor will produce better looking results even in low light is nonsense. Because it depends on how you implement the 4K.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean...
Stop making the A7S series completely. I don't want iPhone...
There's a bold statement.
No, I think that they should stop making the A7S series of cameras completely. I don't want iPhone level resolution on my main camera, which I spent £3,500 for. What's the resolution? Same as my iPhone, isn't it? No. It's just a big turn-off.
I don't know. Maybe I will start to care more about resolution in this new job, but I just haven't had reason to care about resolution in the past decade.
Yeah.
Like at all.
But 24 megapixels is kind of the standard.
Yeah.
So having a 12 megapixel camera.
Yeah.
Bit of a
12
dud.
megapixel camera for what I was previously doing. Great. Fine. Whatever. Small file sizes. Okay, cropping's nice, but even then you can still crop 12 megapixels. But you can when your output's small.
Yeah, I guess so.
But that's not what the camera is. It's not designed for that.
No. I think they should drop the A7S series completely.
And it still kind of surprises me that they even make sort of sub-series of the A series cameras, you know? Like when they first started doing that, you have the A7 and the A7S. Oh, what's the S? Oh, they are now. What? Who knows what S and R mean? And there's still just the non-lettered versions, and then...
Oh, it's easy. S means sensitive, R means resolution.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Didn't know that. There you go.
S is just for like low light sensitivity.
How many years since they started that? That's the first time I've heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
No, they don't tell you. But the S series is all about sensitivity and low light.
Yeah.
The R series is all about resolution.
Yeah.
The standard A7 series is just their standard camera. They're kind of all rounder.
I guess a lot of the components are shared, so it doesn't make much difference. But it did feel like they were sort of splitting their market a little bit.
Oh, they are splitting the market, but I think they just need to have 2 camera systems, and then a flagship.
Could they not just have one?
No, they need 2. They need to have. Canon's got it right, or they had it right. They've got the 6, the 5, and the 1, but now they've got the 3 as well. I don't know. The 3 seems a bit of a diversion.
Yeah, I think that's just the 3 is just because they couldn't. They didn't feel right calling it a 1.
Yeah,
I think that's all that is.
probably. They were trying to make it a 1, but it's not a 1.
They didn't quite get there.
No.
They acknowledge that.
Yeah, but even the build quality is not the same.
Thingamay from... I'm forgetting everyone's name today.
Yeah, from the guy from Canon.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. And I think he's...
But he was talking about it more from the perspective of build quality, not in terms of features.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point though. That's what defines a 1 series.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you can near enough throw it down the stairs.
Yeah.
You know? Don't try that at home, kids.
But you can. And you'll be fine.
I mean, from experience, you can't.
You can't if you've got a lens attached to it. You can if it's carpeted and you haven't got a lens attached to it. But yeah, Sony, I think they should get rid of the S series cameras completely. Completely discontinue it. Focus on producing a proper all-round camera for their A7 series, which is between 2,000 and 3,000. And
pounds.
Yeah. Maybe even 3,000. Put it at 3,000. Doesn't matter. Okay? Because you've still got the A7S3. I'm sorry, A7 III. You've still got the A7 IV. Just produce a camera system that is a true all-rounder. What can you do? Well, it's got a relatively high resolution sensor. It's 30 megapixels. It can shoot 4K or 60p without any crops or anything like that. It's got the video features of the A7S. And it's got half the resolution of the A7R. If you want resolution, if you want pixel shift, if you want all of that, then we've got the resolution camera. Not the greatest when it comes to video, but it's all about high resolution. And then you've got your flagship, the 1, the A1, right?
Throw everything at it.
Yeah. What does it do? Everything. Everything. It's 100 megapixels.
But it costs you $9,000.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What does it cost? $6,000.
Something stupid like that, yeah. It does everything. What does it do? Everything. Whatever, it'll make you coffee.
Well
Okay?
then, so where does the A9 sit in that?
Who cares? Where does the A9 sit now?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm asking you.
Exactly. It's become a bit of a dud now. If you're going to spend that much money, you might as well get the A1.
Yeah.
Right? It's got way better autofocus. It's got way better everything.
Yeah. I don't really get where the A9 sits.
But they've just kind of almost mildly discontinued it by producing the A1. So I think Sony should just get rid of the A7S series completely. They should produce a camera system, the A7, make it the 5D camera, right? I know that Sony doesn't like hearing that because like, oh, we're Sony, we don't have like just you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, stop being sensitive. Make a 5D series camera, which is just an all-rounder.
Discontinue the S series.
Yeah.
It's the sensitive series.
And yeah, that's what I think Sony should do. It's too fragmented. It's just all over the place. They've got everything in little pots, and you can't have everything in one thing. Unless you pay $7,500.
It's not even that you need everything in one thing, but
you just need like
the feature
reasonable
sets that
features
you can get in single cameras are not quite. You don't, you know, as the Venn diagram sits, you don't quite get the ones you want, do you? It's
yeah. It's like a circle in a square peg, or a circle which is slightly larger than the square. Square in a circle peg, man. But then even if the square is slightly...
A square in a circle peg?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying.
Do you mean a square peg in a round hole?
There you go.
But the square has to be big enough not to just fit through the round hole.
Exactly, yeah. But that's what Sony is. It's just slightly too big. It's like, it's not... What if I... No, it's not going to go...
We can tell you struggled with jigsaws as a kid.
I didn't. Because I never did them. It was just too much. Like, what? 10,000 pieces? Why?
10,000?
I saw one for 10,000 pieces in a library once. And I was like, no one's done this. No one sat here in the library and done a 10,000.
You can imagine just sitting in a library doing a jigsaw.
10,000 pieces!
Oh, that's got to be the worst as well. Lending a jigsaw from a library. It's going to have 9,999 pieces when it comes back.
That one piece missing when you got it and you're like...
It'll be the corner piece as well. Like,
oh! Like someone's head just missing. Can't even Photoshop it.
I mean, it's a favourite trick of me and my dad to steal a piece off my grand's jigsaw.
Oh!
We post it back to her a few months later.
That's so mean. That's so mean. But yeah, Sony is the they're doing what Canon did, the cripple hammer. Let's just cripple the video a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. We've got the sensitive camera, the crybaby in the corner. Canon, same thing, man.
Canon. I can't not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't not think that when I hit Canon now. I don't know why. I've made that joke to myself far too many times.
Canon, same thing, man. Canon, they've got everything going for them. Can we just have a camera system? Actually, no, the R6.
Yeah. All 5.
If it doesn't overheat, which it doesn't really, in practice, when I've been shooting with it.
It's a fringe case, really, isn't it?
No, it does happen, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be.
Is anything ever as bad as people make it out to be?
Yeah, Sony's original camera when it was overheating.
Okay, yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Point taken.
Fuji's Color Science. I'm kidding. That was a pot shot. I think that...
Yeah, there have been no pot shots except for that in this video.
I think with... imagine if the R6 didn't overheat. Right? It'd be perfect. 20 megapixels. Fine. Actually, yeah, it's fine. It's more than enough. For wedding photographers, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Right? It's got the same sensor as a 1D series camera. Flagship level performance, effectively. Especially in terms of low light performance and whatever. Speed. It's got ridiculous speed.
Yep.
4K 60p full frame sensor. Amazing autofocus. Brilliant ergonomics. A lens mount that covers EF and RF and some of the best lenses I've ever used. Brilliant colors. Everything's there. But they pissed it away with that overheating nonsense. I get why, because it's a lot of data. It is a lot of data.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, going back to resolution, I know I'm speaking for a relatively small segment of the photography market, right? But you know, yeah, if you're shooting landscapes, it doesn't matter. If you're shooting low volume shoots, it doesn't matter. But if you're shooting high volume shoots, if you're doing weddings, if you're doing journalism, if you're doing events, sports, that kind of thing, having large files does make a big difference.
Of course.
Even if speed isn't actually your biggest thing, you know, you might not have to deliver within an hour. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just that extra. If you've got 200 images and it takes you an extra 3 seconds to load each one, it gets frustrating.
Well, think of it this way, right? Lenny, the girl, yeah. She shoots weddings. Per wedding, she's coming away with about 2,000 a day. 2,000 pictures a day. So if she does 2 days, that's 4,000. Right? Imagine she had a 50 megapixel sensor in there.
Yeah.
4,000 files that she has to go through, 50 megapixels each.
And how much does it cost you in storage as well?
I mean, I know the argument is, well, you could just shoot medium raw.
I was about to say that.
That's not a good argument. I'll tell you why.
No, because it degrades the...
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively. It's not a small... You actually lose a lot of dynamic range.
You basically cannot make that argument.
You lose a lot.
Because dynamic range is one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
When you're shooting that kind of stuff, it's one of
You
the
lose
main...
a lot of dynamic range.
That's probably the most useful thing, in fact, is good dynamic range.
Yeah.
In a camera where you're... You know, where having leeway for, you know, imperfect exposure matters. Because it does. You know, if you're shooting that kind of volume that quickly, you will not get perfect exposure on every frame.
Imagine if you've
won't.
got like the perfect shot of the couple, but it's just slightly underexposed.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to shoot medium raw?
Or like the window behind them is too bright and it's just blown out in places. Well, that's it.
What you can do, just throw the image away. No.
Yeah.
Dynamic range comes in. And the R6 does have really good dynamic range. I think it's like 13 and a half, 14 stops. Really good dynamic range. If you drop down to medium raw on that one, I mean, you don't need to because you've got a 20 megapixel sensor. But if you drop down to medium raw, you're going to lose about 2 or 3 stops on the top end.
Well, the D850 was a good example of that. I was using the D850.
Yeah.
My computer that I was given did not like
anything
those
above 8 megapixels.
did not like those raw files at all.
No.
And I also couldn't shoot many of them.
No.
Before it filled up. I shot a couple for promos the other day at work.
Yeah, because you're not geared for high resolution.
And I put them on the external drive they're using, and I couldn't fit them all on.
Yeah. No, but your whole workflow is geared towards lower resolution files. So, well, it was anyway.
But even then, so I was doing PR jobs. The one in particular, so Pets at Home, they were renovating all their stores, and they wanted interior photos of all their stores. Now, if you've ever been in a shop, you'll know that there are very dark areas and there are very bright areas in a shop.
And their lighting sucks.
And their lighting sucks.
Not that their lighting sucks, it's just their lighting's obviously not geared towards photography.
Store lighting sucks for photography. That's just a given.
Yeah, it's not designed for photography.
No, it's not. Why would it be?
Exactly.
So, I tried, in fact, shooting small RAWs, which was still...
What, 20
I think
megapixels?
That was still 20?
Yeah.
Maybe 18 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
15. It's perfectly big enough for my purposes.
Yeah.
And I just...
You can't recover
without bracketing it, which then I'm using the same amount of file size anyway, and then spending longer putting them together again. I just couldn't get the whole store
there's no way.
in one shot. And that's not even an extreme dynamic range situation.
No, because the lighting's
It's not like sunlight versus, shadowy inside.
No, you can't. So the argument of just shoot medium raw, small raw, it doesn't make sense because no, you paid all this money for a sensor with this particular dynamic range, and if you drop down to a smaller file size, you lose a lot of the dynamic range.
Yep.
So the ideal circumstance would be to have a camera sensor which just starts off at a particular resolution. It's primed for that.
Yep.
12 is too low. 20 is on the edge.
24 is this like
24 is like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
24 is the sweet spot. For me, personally, it's like 50 is the minimum.
Yeah. Right.
But that's just what I shoot. Right. Even the portraits that I'm shooting, which I've started doing recently, for the clients that I'm shooting, we're printing like
plug.
It is a plug.
This whole channel is yours. It's a plug.
So, but the portraits that I'm shooting, 50 megapixels is the minimum, and the reason, well, not the minimum, 50 megapixels is what I'm shooting at, because I know that we're printing at somewhere between minimum 30 by 20.
Yeah.
And that's 50 megapixels right there. Yeah.
When you're doing a high quality print
Yeah.
at a relatively large size,
Yeah.
it helps.
So, and we're printing at 30 by 20.
Yeah.
So 50 is the standard for that, 300 DPI,
You know,
right?
On, as an average goes, 24.
For most people. And I agree with that. I think 24 is a sweet spot for a lot of people who want to shoot weddings. This is why the Sony a7 III was so popular. It was perfect. Just needed 4K 60p.
Yeah.
And Sony released the a7 IV bump in resolution. Great. That's just for marketing. You know, it's just like a nominal bump.
Yeah.
But they shit the bed when it comes to the 4K. I'm exaggerating because their 4K is very, very serviceable.
Yeah.
It's very capable. 4K
Well,
60p.
we're kind of exaggerating for this whole video. Really.
We are, yeah.
Every camera we've talked about is perfectly usable.
Exactly.
We're amongst the first to say that it's not about the camera.
No.
But this is the caveat: is that when you're comparing, apples and apples, or even.
But doesn't it just? The reason why I say shit the bed is not because it's a terrible camera and no one could use it. I'm looking at it from a perspective of. It's more like, but
yeah,
this camera. Do you know? It was just
it's
there.
a bit disappointing, isn't it?
It's like, but it's just one notch away.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you just do that little one notch extra? You know.
That's all it takes. Just
yeah.
Move your hand a little bit.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It just kind of leaves a little bad taste in your mouth.
There you go,
right?
Sony engineers. You just haven't done that. That's what you need to do.
There's a joke that Chris Rock made, which I can't say on here. I'll tell you later. But he talks about Rihanna.
That sounds like the joke we can't tell on.
Yeah. But it's basically that. Imagine if you woke up with so and so next to you.
No.
But then you end up with. It's like, I mean, yeah, I'll do it again, but I'd rather not have that. So that's what the A7 IV is like for me. It's like Rihanna. I'm sorry, guys. We're getting to the end of the stream. That's
If this
why.
wasn't live, I put in like a jump cut with a color bars.
Beep. But yeah, Sony, Canon as well. You know, the overheating is kind of like Rihanna as well. But Canon less so. Canon, because the camera overall is just so good. Because I shot with the R6 and I loved it. I really loved it.
I even loved the RP and it's only got better. I didn't like everything about the RP, but just
I recommended the RP.
I nearly bought one.
Not to you. I wouldn't recommend it to you.
I nearly bought one for work. I mean,
for this place
instead of the Sony, instead of the Fuji. Yeah.
For this place.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had a small budget to work with.
I know, but considering what you kind of lean towards.
Yeah.
The Fuji's better.
Yeah, but the RP wouldn't have been bad.
No, but I just wouldn't target that camera to you. There's a bunch of reasons.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, and that's why I didn't.
It's not even about the specifications. It's honestly not about the specifications.
Yeah.
It's just that I know what kind of cameras you're used to, and that would annoy the hell out of you. Honestly, that would annoy the hell out of you.
Fair. Because
it's not. You're used to pro cameras. That camera would really, really freaking annoy you. I'm telling you. It's great on paper until you pick it up, and you know what I mean.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we used it. We reviewed it when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, we used it.
We used the EOS R.
We reviewed a lens with it.
No, I've never used the EOS RP on a video. Sorry.
Have you?
No. EOS R. You like the EOS R?
I like the EOS R as well. Yeah.
But the EOS R is more like the Canon 5D, so that's why you would have got on with it.
We've used the RP for something. I can't remember. Must be something.
I haven't used it for anything. I've tested it.
Yeah.
So I've been given it, but I've never.
Oh right, okay.
I've never actually brought it out and given it to anyone.
Okay, well we've tested it then. I have shot with it.
Oh, have you shot with it?
Because you've had it.
No, you've never shot the EOS RP through me.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Oh, how did I manage that then?
You shot the EOS R with me, but not the USRP.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Because I literally had it for about 2 days, and I tested it in my house, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to review this.
Right.
It's a great camera for someone on a budget. Honestly, brilliant camera for someone on a budget, but there's no way that I wanted to review it. It just didn't interest me, annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
For all the reasons
So,
that...
oh, there we go then. So, Canon's budget line.
Yeah. No,
What
the
needs
US...
to what needs to change there?
Not a lot. They've got a great budget line. They honestly have a great budget line.
Because even the budget line needs to go mirrorless soon, right?
But they've got the USRP,
Yeah.
they've got the USR, and they've got the USR6. Those are the three main budget lines.
But the
And
RP
each of
and
those-
the R are getting on a bit now.
No, not if you're a budget. If you're on a
True,
budget,
but as in
you've got a full frame camera with brilliant
I
features.
mean, in terms of new stuff, like they haven't released any new budget cameras, mirrorless budget cameras.
It hasn't been that long though.
True.
It hasn't been that long. And also this year, last year and this year has been a bit of a kind of a write-off to some extent.
True. That's fair.
So yeah, it hasn't actually been that long since they released the USR and R6, considering 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, that's fair.
So no, they've got a great selection when it comes to budget cameras. They've got some of the best selection when it comes to budget cameras. I mean, the most inexpensive full-frame camera is still Canon. So
Yeah.
definitely, in that regard, I don't think they've got much to do. But they do need to round off their camera system when it comes to the US R6 and R5. You know, just, I don't know, firmware, fix it. They're not going to, but sort out that overheating. And other than that, I don't think anything they need to do. No, there's only one thing Canon I want to see Canon do, but this has got nothing to do with what they need to do in terms of improve, because Canon's got it really well at the moment, overall. Because the overheating, I don't consider it as a big issue. Some people will, and if you do, then you know I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Tilt shift lenses for mirrorless cameras.
Yes.
That's the only thing I want to see. But for you, they're useless. For most people, they're useless.
Yep.
But I think more people should use tilt shift lenses.
I don't think they'd be useless for me actually, to be honest. But yeah.
Oh no, for this work,
For the-
very useful. If you should, but even, actually no, even
No, for some of the promo stuff, they could be. Quite
yeah,
useful,
they'll be quite useful.
Yeah.
Especially the building interior shots and the exterior shots. But even if you don't factor that in, just shooting a car with a tilt shift lens is a lot easier to get the perspective and everything correct. But then you need a tripod unless it's an autofocus lens. I don't think they're going to make an autofocus tilt shift lens, even though the rumors are saying.
You don't have to have a tripod for autofocus. You can shoot a non-autofocus lens without a tripod.
It's just a pain, though. I find it a pain.
You're shooting a car. You're shooting f8 or so. Like
Yeah, I guess so.
you've got enough depth, you'll be fine.
True. No, that's true. That's
And
a
I
fair
haven't
point.
got particularly steady hands, so
1/1000th.
actually, that to be fair, that's something I've noticed. Like using this tiny camera, I thought I had relatively steady hands, but or I don't know, maybe it's not me, but using a tiny camera is so much harder.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
What do you think it was going to be?
No, but like, keeping the thing steady is really hard.
Yeah, because you're not used to it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no inertia to stop you moving it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That literally is it. But like,
Yeah.
I didn't realise.
This is
how
one of
much
the
a
reasons why I
difference
was
that
kind
made.
of not recommending the USRP to you. But
Like,
the
I've bought a
XS10.
Fuji. It's not exactly going to be heavy.
No, but the Fuji makes up for it in so many other ways.
Yeah.
You know, it's got IBIS, it's got like actual proper IBIS, not digital IBIS.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot better features in a lot of areas.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
a good camera, but
But
yeah,
know
I
what you mean.
didn't realise, and hold my hand up to this because I've said before, like, why would you even consider this as an issue, basically?
What, the small camera?
Well, as in the fact that it's too light. I've heard people say things are too light, they feel too plasticky before.
No, that's a big problem sometimes.
Yeah, because I've always thought, well, I'm using this camera that weighs a ton. Why would you not want it to be lighter? And
No, you want it
the
to
only
be-
light cameras I've used have been the likes of, like high level light cameras, should we say? Which
Yeah,
make up
but that's
for
not the same because the premium build is still there.
it. Yeah.
But when something feels a bit plasticky, I get why.
Well,
And it was-
feeling a bit plastic is a slightly different thing, but when it feels too light, it is genuinely harder to shoot with.
Yeah.
Or put it another way, I have as a test taken out the D850 with a 7200, shot that at 200, turned the stabilization off. I got steadier results out of that than I did out of the 3300 at, what was it, 150 equivalent.
You got to hold it a bit firmer to your face.
And that has, well, okay, it's got broken stabilization, but it's got stabilization. You know, I know how to steady my arms. You know, I know how to lock everything in. But
no, but I mean, like, you got to do more.
Yeah.
You can't do it the way that you shoot with those big cameras.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of a pain in that regard.
Yeah.
But speaking of the D33 and the D850, what do you think Nikon needs to do? Because my perspective on Nikon is a little bit limited, even though I've been following their cameras. It's just I haven't shot with any of their latest mirrorless systems.
I haven't either, and I haven't even looked at them.
Same here.
I must be honest.
So Nikon, we're going to move on. We're going to move on quickly from them and say,
no. I've shot with Nikon for so long, and I've been a bit disenfranchised with them, which is why I haven't bothered looking at their new stuff.
Why do you mean disenfranchised? What do you mean?
Well, I just see people with other systems of similar age, similar kind of paper specs, getting good results much more easily. Colors is one big thing.
Nikon's good with colors, man. Sony was the problem.
Nikon JPEGs have only recently not been yellow.
Yeah, but not Yeah, no, you shoot JPEGs, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
But even processing raw files has been
No,
harder.
Nikon Raw Files, I really like them.
Do
The
you?
D800, I like I like the files from the D800, the D810.
Greens, I've just always thought greens were an issue. And yeah, especially with JPEGs, like they couldn't. They could not reproduce the color green.
I just don't. I don't have any perspective on.
Here's
the
a
JPEGs.
field. It's yellow. Look at this lovely yellow field.
It's hay.
Yeah. I found that to be a limitation.
Yeah, admittedly, I haven't shot the JPEGs. I've only shot the raw files, and I really like the raw files.
One thing I think Nikon does very well is the handling. Like, when they came out with the D750, and have continued this since, the sort of deep recessed.
Yeah.
That was when I first picked up the D750.
It feels better than the 5D Mark IV.
This is so comfortable.
Yeah.
I can, just because the grip goes, you can't see what I'm doing, but the grip goes in a bit more. It doesn't go flat back to the camera.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It feels, the D750 felt better in my hands, not with the dials, not the buttons, but just holding the camera, than the 5D Mark IV.
Right.
And the 5D Mark IV feels lovely.
See, that's the other thing, the dials wise. I really love the handling of having one front, one back wheel. Because you've always got your fingers there. You don't have to move your thumb on the
How'd you change ISO on a Nikon?
There's a button on the top.
Oh, there is?
Well, there is now.
Oh!
For ages there wasn't, and people would remap the record button to be the ISO button.
Right.
And then finally, it took like 2 or 3 generations of cameras.
Because this whole time...
But Nikon finally put an ISO button on the top.
This whole time I've been shooting with a Nikon camera, right? So whenever I'm...
When have you been shooting with a Nikon camera?
Okay, I haven't. But whenever I've been like hanging out with someone other than you, including you, whenever I pick up their Nikon camera, have you dropped your cigar?
No.
Oh. You dropped the ash.
No, I dropped the cigar.
Oh, you did? Oh, you dropped one for once.
I'm in your house. It's your influence. Carry on.
I just never knew how to change the ISO. I'm like, why is it on auto ISO? How do I change that? And it stays on auto ISO. So I can't change anything. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. So I annoyed the hell out of me.
I used auto ISO a lot. I used auto ISO a lot. Okay, there we go. In the budget cameras, and I think this is a thing for Canon as well. Why is it so difficult to change settings on budget cameras? It should be, if anything, easier. You should be making this accessible for people. If they want to change stuff, you should make it easy for them to do it, so that they can play about with it and get it wrong and get it right.
Oh, I've got one more thing I want to add to someone. That's a very good point. But on the back of that, I want to add something. Why are touchscreens on cameras so crap?
Yep.
Every single camera manufacturer, aside from that I can think of, Panasonic has a good touchscreen. Hasselblad has a brilliant touchscreen. Canon has a brilliant touchscreen. The hell is Sony doing? Sony is display king. They make displays for a living.
Yep.
Why is their screen on the back of their camera? This is what, from 2000 and, like the 5D Mark IV that we're shooting with, right? That's what, 2015, 2016? 5 years old.
That one.
Yeah. 5 years old, and has a vastly superior screen than the Sony camera, which is a much younger camera.
Yep.
Every Sony camera LCD that I've seen, even their flagship cameras, their screens on the back suck. They are horrible, horrific to look at. I feel embarrassed showing clients pictures on the back of my, because they're like, what is it?
Well, that was the same, yeah.
Sucks. But not just that, they've got touchscreen, but with an asterisk.
Yeah.
You can't use the touchscreen. So
if you're going to put a touchscreen on it, give it full functionality.
Yeah.
Don't bother otherwise.
What's this half-assed nonsense about, oh, you can only use it in like swiping pictures or touch to focus? I don't care about, can you just give me a menu system that I can freaking use the touchscreen on? And that works for beginners as well, because with beginners, if you could just touch to change things, that's what most people are used to, right?
Yeah.
Most people are used to just using their phone to pick it up and
so
like, okay.
Getting back to that, right? I know less about the Canon budget line, but I know I'm sure this bit is true with the Nikon ones. To change settings, certain settings, to change aperture on the Nikon budget ones, you've got to find a button on the top that isn't easy to find just with your finger, and press it and then change the dial.
The Canon's budget lines.
The button, the symbol on it, is the exposure comp button.
So Canon's budget line does have fully functioning touchscreens.
Right.
So you can change the aperture, you can change the ISO, you can change the shutter
So this is the thing.
just by touch.
This is the thing on the other Nikons, for instance, and on the older Canon budget lines. To get to, you can get the information display up on the back.
Yeah.
And then you've got to figure out which button allows you to select things on that screen.
What?
And on the D3300, it isn't. There is no button to allow you to set. Not that I've found anyway. So you've got to go into the menus to change the ISO. Or you've got to find the button. Maybe there is one. Either way, you've got to press it and then scroll around to get to the ISO bit of that screen and then change it. It's like, what?
Okay, let's put a line underneath those really old cameras, and let's.
But even newer budget lines. I do not think.
Canon's.
Why is reduced? More difficult control schemes. Why is it a feature of more budget cameras to have more difficult to use control schemes?
That's a fair point. They should be easy.
If it's meant to be a point and shoot camera, it's meant to be a point and shoot camera. Fine.
The only manufacturer that seems to do this well that I found is Canon for budget.
Right.
Because but their budget lines, like their Canon SL2s and 200D in the UK, 250D and so on, they're really entry level cameras. They have like kiddie level controls.
Yeah.
Like honestly, tutorials on the menu system and all that kind of nonsense, right?
That's all right, but
which is great. No, I'm gonna like talk nonsense about it because I'm like, oh, I don't need it. It just gets in the way. For me, yes, that's true. But for someone just starting out, they need that. They need something which tells them exactly what this feature does and how to use it. And Canon does that really well. Sony doesn't have that. Their menu systems for their budget lines are terrible, and the settings are just inaccessible in so many ways. I think how long has it been going?
Well, it says over 2 hours on this. That isn't 2 hours in real life, but
we're almost finished.
Yeah.
But Sony, Canon, Fuji not so much, because Fuji's as long as if you've got an aperture ring and an ISO dial and all that, it's fairly straightforward.
But as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to make a camera that's budget, but it's aimed at people who want to take photography seriously, so we're not talking point and shoots, we're talking small budget, SLRs, mirrorlesses, whatever.
Make it easy for them to shoot with them.
Make it easier for people to shoot with.
Yeah.
Because that's how people are going to get more into their photography. It's going to make the experience more enjoyable for people. Like, I've got friends, I can think of one particular friend who had I think it might have even been a D3300. Or similar, and she really enjoyed her photography, but didn't ever change half her settings because she didn't know how to get to them in the camera. And she was like, "Can you help me?" And I took the camera, and it took me 5 minutes to work out. And I know Nikon menu systems quite well. Yeah, I've shot with them professionally for years.
Oh my god, I got embarrassed recently. Like this beginner was showing me their I say beginner. This person, same. This girl who I got to know had a Canon something, right? And it was one of the entry level APS-C cameras, not entry, but you know, in that range kind of thing, right? And she's like, "Oh, you shoot with Canon, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Can you help me change a setting or something?" And for the life of me, I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, it's embarrassing because it's like, I shoot with so many Canon cameras.
Yeah.
How the hell do you know? Like, she was looking at me. I thought you knew Canon. I thought I knew Canon. Yeah. Beginner cameras, man. But Canon is doing a better job now with their budget line cameras, but only in full frame, not for APS-C. For APS-C,
you know, this is part of the reason why I've often recommended. I mean, we often say it, you know, it's often better to buy an old high-level camera than it is to buy a new budget camera, right? Yeah. And part of that reason is handling.
Yeah. I would recommend a 5D3 to so many people. In fact, why didn't you? Oh yeah, you can't buy it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that. Yeah.
Just it clicks as soon as I said it.
In fact, one of the main reasons, you know, when I often recommend Nikon to people because you can get old lenses and you can do quite a good budget system.
Of course, yeah.
And part of one of the biggest things in my head when I'm recommending it is that you've got dedicated wheels for stuff. You don't need to dig through menus to find stuff.
Exactly.
And that, I don't know, do they underestimate it? I don't know what it is.
I think it's because...
Well, maybe they just don't shoot with those cameras enough after they made them. I don't know, but it's just... it seems like such a tiny thing, but it makes so much difference when you're shooting.
Just make 3 buttons: aperture, ISO, shutter speed.
Yeah. Well, you don't even need like ISO could be a button, I guess, maybe, but like it is on most cameras.
No. You just have one dial on the top, because if you're trying to minimize dials and buttons.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. You have
if
one
you're
dial.
Trying to save money by not putting a wheel in.
But I'm just saying, right? Yeah. No, I'm just saying, if you want to make it as bare bones and simple as possible, you have 3 buttons: aperture, ISO, shutter speed, and one dial on the top. You press the aperture, you move the dial. You press the ISO, you move the dial. You press the shutter speed, you move the dial. And just clear as well. It says, "What's this?" Oh, that's a shutter button. What's that?
To be fair, even on actually.
And wait. Put it in a formation like a triangle. Yeah. Because most beginners,
triangle.
Yeah, most beginners when they learn about photography, they learn about the exposure triangle. I know that loads of people will start as you start progressing into your professional and turning into an expert or a master or whatever. When you start becoming like really good in your particular field, you start realizing that the exposure triangle is kind of not what you would consider as gospel.
Yeah, but it's the basics.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the easiest way to translate something to someone who's just starting. It's the easiest way to explain some principles very quickly. And then as you progress, you start moving away from that and start learning about how
you progress when you don't have to think about it anymore. That's all that is.
Precisely. But when you're first starting out, put it in a triangle.
Yeah, why not?
It's called the exposure triangle. That's what most beginners are going to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the back, what's this button? It's an ISO button.
Yeah.
What does it do? Changes the ISO.
Like, even in my head now, I could think of like a good screen graphic you could use for that. Like a little point that could shift back towards one or the other as you increase it, or even that. I don't know. It's
weirdly you say that. Canon has that in the SL2. SL. Yeah.
Wonderful. Love it.
It actually has the graphic of what the shutter speed does as you increase or decrease it. Brilliant. And it's actually quite cool.
Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah. But it's still... No, it's got a fully functioning touchscreen as well.
Even better.
So really easy to shoot with.
I was going to say though, you kind of forget how good cameras have become now. I shot with it was a 1D, like an old 1D. not X, just 1D Mark II, I think it was.
A wand.
And changing some of the controls on that, you had to press 2 buttons at once and then use the wheel on the back. It was a nightmare. I can't remember what it was now. It was like it might even have been ISO. You had to press 2 buttons and click the wheels. You couldn't do it.
You have to press 2 buttons?
It might not have been ISO, but basically they had 3 buttons on the top, and different combinations of the 3 would change different settings.
What camera was this?
It was a 1D. I think it was a Mark II.
I never want to shoot with that.
It was horrible.
I just shoot in auto.
Like, considering it was however many years old, the images from it weren't bad.
Do you know?
But it's just
Do
so hard to shoot
do
with.
you know what the worst thing is though? Professionals who shoot with those cameras be like, oh, it's easy, and you just pressing. What are you complaining about? Right?
Yeah.
Most professionals, and the problem is, Canon would listen to those professionals.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most photographers, and maybe I'm being flippant here. I'm definitely being flippant here. I'm definitely being unreasonable in what I'm about to say. But there's a point I'm trying to
say it anyway.
No, but there's a point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, okay.
Most high-end professionals don't know what they're talking about when it comes to cameras. And what I mean by that is they're probably the worst people for manufacturers to go to for advice on how to build a fully functioning, capable camera. Because most high-end professionals will say, oh, well, you know, we just need this, we just need that. They don't actually understand what makes a camera better. They just kind of fall in line with what is...
They know what makes it better for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just fall in line with what their workflow is about.
Yeah.
But everyone's workflow is very different or slightly different.
I mean, we're all guilty of that to some extent because we can only really talk about what we know, but...
No, but it's probably... And this is only relatively new, but people who... Maybe I feel kind of bad saying this, but people who review gear, they know more. Like, if you go to someone, if you go to some, well, I'm talking like the big YouTube channels, okay, not my dumbass.
I was going to get to that.
No, definitely not. Don't ask me, because I'm just going to complain. Actually, no, even I know what I'm talking about to some extent, okay, shut up, okay? I'm the one who
I didn't say it.
I'm the one who brought up Fuji Colors. No one's going to listen to me, but I'll still say it. I'm the one who came up with the CFE with the large
Hasselblad
sensor.
talking to you again, by the way.
No, they're great, yeah. And they've taken some of my pointers. Hasselblad does listen. Hasselblad does listen.
Okay.
Fuji does listen, just not to me.
Gearing listen. Gearing listen.
Gearing definitely listen.
Plug for them.
Yeah, no, yeah, we're using a gearing tripod right now.
yeah.
I should probably send a story to her. She'd love that.
I'll do it right now. There you go.
Use the right backdrop, yeah. But yeah, people who actually review equipment and have a wider perspective on different camera equipment, they'll probably have a better idea of what to do. So I don't care if they don't listen. Don't put me in the story, man. Why? Oh, for God's sake. And my cigar's gone out. But people who review equipment for a living or test a lot of equipment and, you know, don't just test Sony cameras, don't just test Canon cameras, but we're talking like they review a wide range of different camera systems. They're going to be far better equipped at giving advice on what a camera system should be able to do and how it should operate.
I mean, that's kind of the standard. It's breadth of experience, isn't it?
However,
that's a common thread in anything.
Yeah. But what do most manufacturers do? They talk to their ambassadors.
Yeah.
And their ambassadors only use one camera system.
Yeah.
So they only have perspective on that one particular system. Unless they kind of shift around and they've gone from one, but it's rare for an ambassador to go from one company to another to another.
Why would you if you get
exactly
free gear?
Yeah. I don't think they get free gear. I think they just get like free perks.
What I mean, like,
they get like some discounts or whatever. But do you know what I mean? They're probably the worst people in general.
Yeah, because you're asking the choir, basically.
Yeah.
And then preaching back to them.
Yeah. It's just a loop. Sorry, I was about to swear there.
Yep.
It's just a loop. Pointless asking them. You might as well just ask people in your own company. You have to ask people who are objective about these camera systems and are going to talk about it in a way that is almost dispassionate.
Yeah.
And
should be.
Well,
in some ways.
Some ways, yeah. They're not
passionate about making things better, but dispassionate about
hurting people.
Which, what the brand is or
yeah.
And then objective is the word.
Yeah, sorry, yes.
The word exists for that.
Objective is the word, yeah. So they're going to be objective about it. They're not going to just say something just because they want to try and seem like...
Yeah.
They're going to say something based on what they think is the better way of doing things. And a lot of manufacturers don't do that. So what manufacturers need to improve on? Well, talk to the audience more.
Yeah.
Stop talking to your ambassadors, because in all fairness, your ambassadors only know what you've already given them. They don't have a greater perspective, but your audience does. Canon was completely out of touch there with their audience for a long time. Fujifilm seems to be doing a great job in that regard, and they're paying attention to a lot of their audience members and so on. So
yes, they're very vocal audience members.
yeah, no, I love that. Listen, I make fun of the fact that Fuji's audience is freaking
The worst.
They are the worst. Well, the one thing,
Absolute worst.
but the one thing great about the Fujifilm audience, which I really, really pleased about, is the fact that they will speak their mind quite clearly. Man, your smoke's coming my way. There's no air movement in the room today, is there?
No. I'm switching away from myself every time I'm doing this.
But yeah, that's, I guess, the main thing. Manufacturers need to just pay more attention to what their audience is saying and don't listen to your ambassadors. They don't know anything. Shut up.
But also make us one.
Yeah. Leica, if you're listening, I promise I won't keep it on the shelf.
I'll definitely be objective.
I'll never say a mean thing about. I don't think I've ever said a mean thing about Leica anyway. No, I've said a few things.
We were pretty lukewarm about the SL2.
Yeah, no, I said a few mean things about the SL2. But
I don't think they were undeserved though.
no, they weren't undeserved, and they didn't say anything about it. They were fine with it.
Yeah.
And I said some mean things about the M10R as well,
Yeah.
despite the fact that I love that camera.
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
know? You don't have to wholeheartedly like everything about everything.
No, I hate the ergonomics in that camera, but despite the fact that I hate the ergonomics in that camera, I also love the way it feels in my hand. I don't know how that works, but
Well, Fuji is a great example.
oh,
Everyone raves about these having independent dials. I find them really hard to change on the fly.
yeah, I hate the dials.
Really, really hard to
What's
deal
this
with.
freaking
You got to press it, and then
like
you can't
twiddly
use that hand.
nonsense? Like
you got to get your other hand
freaking-
involved, and
yeah.
yeah.
What's all this freaking twiddly nonsense? Just give me dials on the front. Give me a touchscreen that works. I don't care about these freaking. Look, if you want to be hipster about it, fine, okay?
At the same time, they're really nice.
Yeah, he does look nice.
Yeah. So, you know, if that's your priority, fine. But that's just it, isn't it?
One more thing. I hate aperture rings on photography lenses.
Oh, controversial point.
Still lenses, aperture rings, freaking nonsense. They always slip.
That's true. That's very fair.
They always slip.
I like using them to change the aperture. I don't like them changing the aperture on their own.
No, they always slip. They've got virtually no function other than just the aperture ring, and you could just do that on the back of the dial, right? So it's just an additional manufacturing point that you're adding onto a lens.
Well,
with no
to be fair, if you had a dedicated wheel for shutter, dedicated wheel for ISO, and then an aperture ring,
Which Fuji
didn't
does.
slip.
Which Fuji does.
Yeah, except you can't use it with one hand, really.
No, you can. Front dial, back dial, and the aperture ring. You can actually do that.
Oh yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so you can do that.
Yeah.
So you can completely negate the top ring if you want to, but it's just a bit of a pain in the ass trying to get that sorted on them. But anyway, aperture rings on still lenses, they're a terrible idea.
I don't think they're a terrible idea.
No, for digital cameras, they're a terrible idea because they're clicked aperture rings anyway. So what benefit does it actually offer aside from slipping on the odd occasion when you're trying to shoot at f1.2 and then you end up looking at the images? Oh, I'm on f22. Thanks for that, Fuji. Thanks for that.
If it just had like a little button, you'd...
Yeah. Thanks for that, Sigma. Oh my gosh, Sigma, I love your lens, but what's this aperture ring bullshit?
I love how earlier you said, "Oh, I almost swore."
What did I say?
Earlier you said, "Oh, I almost swore there," but you've been saying things like bullshit the whole
Bullshit's
stream.
not a swear.
We've definitely exceeded our shit quota if we were on broadcast pre-Watershed.
Oh, shit's not a swear. Shit's like, it's a noun.
Well, now that we're just descending into swearing,
Yeah.
or not swearing as you say it, is it
Shit is not a swear.
is it time to wrap up?
Oh shit, I've said
Are
fuck.
there
Oh fuck,
oh,
I've said
I said
shit.
it again. Is there anyone we haven't talked about?
Hasselblad.
Hasselblad.
There's only one thing I want them to do. Make a CFV with the larger sensor. For the love of God, just do it. Okay? I don't care if I can't afford it. I'm never going to buy it. Actually, no. If things go well, I want a CFV. With what I'm doing at the moment, if things go well, I want the CFV with the 80mm. I don't care how impractical it is in terms of usability. I just want that because of how it looks in that place. Right?
Yeah.
That would be the perfect way of kind of shooting those types of pictures.
Yeah.
So yeah, CFV. I want the CFV, and I want the CFV with the larger sensor.
Yeah.
And I want the M10R.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Any other camera manufacturers we haven't thought about?
Pentax, but no one cares.
Pentax.
I'm sorry, Pentax users. It's just, what have you done? You made the full frame camera. You don't want to go mirrorless, which is fine. I don't think Pentax should go mirrorless. You know what? Pentax is doing fine. They can just carry on doing whatever they're doing. There's not much else they need to do.
Fair.
There's virtually nothing they need to do. What could they do? Right? They're doing a great job with their Ricoh line of cameras.
Yep.
Well, Ricoh, you know what I mean. It's the same company, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Better servicing.
What?
For Pentax and Ricoh.
Oh, come on. You're asking too much now. Get insurance.
The what? No, the one servicing department is part of Jonathan Pye Auction House. I know this because I looked them up today for Theta servicing.
Listen, yeah, you're asking for way too much now, okay? Servicing? What's next? Customer service? A call center? Do you know how much these things cost? They don't have that kind of money. Pentax is just, I imagine Pentax as being like two guys in a freaking warehouse in Liverpool. Be like, yeah, mate, of course.
Yeah, you almost want them to be like, they're almost like an old British car manufacturer, you know, where they made stuff out of a shed.
Yeah. That's how I imagine Pentax.
Like the product is great, but a bit niche, and it was made out of a shed in Scunthorpe or something. You know?
At least it's not Grimsby.
All right. How many more people call me a Fend before we?
Newcastle's a bit shit, isn't it?
You know, angry Geordies running down the A1.
No one's watching. Who cares?
That's very true. Right. Well, since no one's watching, should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Thank you for whoever watches this afterwards.
Because that really, really makes it worthwhile to have done this live.
With all the mistakes.
Yeah.
And the audio problems. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's been a pleasure. Hope you had
fun.
Don't want to use that word. I think it's a bit strong.
Fun.
Bit strong.
Hope you had a pleasant experience.
Hope you had an experience.
Hope you watched.
And we'll see you in the next one. We'll try and do some more live streams. I'm going to get you on the cigar channel though. Come on, we've got an audience there for the live stream.
I didn't even know what this cigar was. How am I going to talk about it?
We're not talking about the cigars we're smoking.
I know, but
anyway, different channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Why?